cannot work. So how to make money? I'm very interested.
How to make money?
That's the $1,000,000 question.
Yeah, that's hopefully something that you'll be looking at in the enterprise module that you're doing. I don't know how much to address it in this module because it's a kind of explicit focus of enterprise, but certainly we'll be touching on it throughout. Okay. Any other questions, opinions?
Yes, I want to know the difference between the draft blog and the article package published or broadcast. I mean, do you mean that we should publish part of our article in the blog and then sell it fully to someone? So I didn't catch the meaning of that.
That's looking at a news operation. So you're already being paid as a journalist within that operation. I think blogs are really good at publishing unfinished, rough and ready material. If you publish it on a news website, there's kind of an expectation.
The style is different and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you first get the story, you can say on your blog, I know this much, I don't know this. Help me out, kind of.
We have the TMZ example with Michael Jackson's death. They had this first short text about Michael Jackson's death, and they developed the story throughout the day, and they managed to package a full story by the end of the day. So I think it applies to that example.
And they have tremendous contacts, TMZ. Really.
Yeah.
So
they pay a lot of money.
Well, yeah.
Just help.
Yeah.
Very big part of what they do.
But I guess it's like the journalists and police officers are quite similar in terms of, and to tell the truth, it's like
taking lots of money.
It's the same, some sort of methods. They need to have their own sources. They have to be in touch with the community. They have to develop a work in behalf of the community, and journalists. It's also almost as dangerous being a journalist as being a cop in some places.
Journalists and police officers are similar, and many of them were corrupt.
And they are too. And it has always been common to praise somebody up to get this type of information. You have your informers in the community, and they tip you off and give them something
I think
in exchange. It happens. It's quite similar in many ways. Not exactly alike, but it's quite similar.
it alarms me, given some of the police officers that I've met in my work, if we are similar.
But sometimes you have your sources and you don't pay them money, but you give them exposure.
Yeah.
To have their 15 minutes of fame, and that's why some people approach journalists and others don't.
I think, and this was one thing I wanted to ask actually, that we're kind of getting close to, and that is that a lot of the models that we're talking about work if you have a readership and an audience that's already there. I've known from experience working on fledgling publications that asking your readers to help you with a story is very good if you've got lots of readers. If you don't have very many, then they're not that useful because you don't have the audience there to actually provide you with the kind of content that you're looking for.
If you don't have the audience, basically at first you have to bribe them somehow so that they really, you don't have to give them something physical, you have to really give them a reason to get involved.
But I'm wondering if the model changes depending on where you are in terms of your maturity as a publication.
No, of course. At first I worked for, I basically made a website. I was the content manager. So at first there was nobody. We had readers but no comments. We tried to interact. We just at some point we thought, how do we make these people actually say something? And we gave them a reason. We started giving them exchanging links, giving them exposure. Do you have a blog? Let's talk about your blog. And then at some point they started coming.
Isn't that also what things like Twitter are for? Because Twitter, people will comment even if they haven't been to your website, so you can engage other people's audience and then steal them.
They're not going to come to your website and comment. They're going to keep it on Twitter.
Sorry, I was going to say what you're probably looking for is to feed into forums or other places where people are going to be interested in what you're writing about. You need to almost dip into certain places
Yeah,
in
you
order
have to
to
be
get
very
that
aggressive
going.
at first. Very, very aggressive.
There are technical gimmicks to engage people. We have there's a Portuguese newspaper with a tool called Twingly. Whenever a blog links to that specific article, the blog shows up in a list on the side of the article, and that gives exposure to the blog. And there's reciprocity, yeah, reciprocation, and it depends. If you don't have that many readers, there are always ways to get more readers, but you need time, and you have to be different, have a personality and everything, and sometimes it.
I think also, sorry
it's
to
okay.
butt in, but I think also it's dependent on the readers that you're attracting as well.
Yeah.
I mean, readers will. Behaviour of people online is very different, and people are finding out about how to use online things as they go along. And if your readership, for example, is much older, then their wish to interact with you might be slightly different from that you might find with a younger audience. And certainly people in Dubai were particularly bad at getting involved in certain things. I don't know why that was. That was just the readership that we had. So.
And it depends. We have, in that newspaper I told you about, they have in a major news story, they have 1,000 comments in 1 hour and a half. Who can manage 1,000 comments? And most of them are really pretty bad. It's an ongoing conversation, it's a forum by itself. And there are other newspapers who might publish the same story and have no comments at all. So it depends how people are engaged with the media company, with the newspaper, with the brand. So sometimes not having comments is not that bad, but you have to. I think more important than comments is pingbacks, people linking back to your website. I don't have any comments in my blog, but I have lots of links and especially retweets for my stuff, and I think that's more valuable sometimes than comments. Because sometimes comments are just a complete waste of time to spend reading them and going through them, and they're not.
And often what you find is you have people who end up having a conversation about something completely different on the bottom of the story that has no relationship to what you've written.
In that newspaper, there is three defined groups of people who comment in that newspaper. Common users, which are a margin. There is this group of people who work all for the same bank, for the same company, because all the comments come from the same network, and their IP is, you can't tell from where it came from. And there are the political parties, and they have groups who work, all they do is to comment on the news.